that your performance, our performance, is a prophecy of the way that we practice. You know, you can't practice one way and expect to have performance another way. You know, Eric Thomas, the motivational speaker, I was watching a video clip of his earlier today, and he has a video clip out. If you go to, you can see Eric Thomas, motivational speaker, ET as he referred to as, or you go to Motiversity, subscribe to Motiversity, you'll see some of his stuff there as well. It's called beast mode, being in beast mode. A lot of people want success, but they fail, or they get weak, or they get soft when it comes to being in beast mode. Because if you and I could stay in beast mode, we can have the success that we want in life. We can have the relationships that we want in life. We can have the marriage that we want in life. And the list goes on and on and on. And he describes what beast mode is. And a component of beast mode is what I'm focusing in on over the next couple of weeks is this performance piece, right? Movement doesn't necessarily mean that you're being productive. Movement doesn't necessarily mean that you are being productive. So I just want to quickly go through with you tonight or today some 6 things, right, that I believe are connected to having high performance in life. There are 6 things or 6 ways I would say to have peak performance mindset. Have to have the mind, and listen to that word mindset. Is 2 words: mind, this part, set, like a thermometer. You set the temperature. Like this afternoon, earlier this evening, my wife walked in. She said, "Man, the house is kind of hot," because, you know, outside's been like in the high 70s today. She said, "Man, the house is hot." What did she do? She walked over to the thermostat, turned on the AC, and set the temperature at a certain level. And the AC kicks in, and it's going to cool the house to that set temperature. Well, if we can do it with a thermometer, the human brain is the most complex computer programming system known to mankind. So we can set our mind on whatever it is that we want to accomplish, right? So I'm going to quickly highlight 6 mindsets that you can have for peak performance. I'm just going to highlight it tonight, but we're going to get into it over time. We're going to spend some time on it over time. But in general, this is what we're looking at. This is the and set your boundaries, and then finally maintain your focus. So what does it mean when I say build resilience? Right, building resilience simply means it's your ability to bounce back. See, it doesn't matter how far you fall. What matters is, number 1, how fast you get up. Number 2, how high you return. Right, so setbacks are critical to helping us reach peak performance. You know, setback paves the way for comebacks, right? So resilience is, you got to build up your resilience. How do I bounce back after a tough time, after a challenging time? The second thing I mentioned is that you got to create a strong mental fitness practice. And remember, your performance is a prophecy of the way that you practice, right? So you got to practice. I read earlier today, I'm reading information on cognitive behavior therapy. Cognitive behavior therapy. I'm interested in how the mind works, how the brain thinks. And in this article that I was reading today, it separated feelings and emotions. It separated feelings and emotions, right? So feelings is okay. So if I have the emotion of anger, right, I get angry. The feeling aspect of getting angry is I feel my face get flushed. right? Maybe I feel my temperature in my face get warm, right? Or when the emotion of anxiety or nervousness, right? The feeling I get is that my heart rate is elevated. You understand what I'm saying? So part of this idea of setting a strong mental fitness practice is getting in control of our thoughts and our feelings. Feelings aren't right or wrong. Our emotions aren't right or wrong. They are simply the way that we feel. Now, the growth part, the challenge is, how do we respond? You ever be talking to someone and they say, I'm having a bad day. I'm not in a good mood. How can that happen? How can any day possibly be given authority over you? How can a day, friend, help me out. How can a day possibly? Now, I know that I'm not making light if you got some tragedy, some tragic news. That's not what I'm talking about. I'm talking about something happening and you're saying, because that thing has happened, now that thing has been given the power and authority to govern the result of my day. That's not what I'm talking about. I'm talking about overcoming and being strong and practicing mental fitness, and I'll get into more about that as we go through this conversation. This third thing I want to encourage you to do as it relates to how to have this high performance, right? How to build peak performance mindset is that you got to get a coach, work with a coach, right? The well-being and health of your family, your workforce, and our business is worth investing in. You got to make the investment. So work with the coach. If you're not at a place to work with a coach, at the very least, get accountability apart. Get a mentor. Accountability apart and accountability partner. Right? Get a mentor. Have someone that talk and connect and talk with someone that's where you want to go mentally and physically, maybe, right? So again, these are just some suggestions and ideals. We're going to get into more of a detailed conversation later. Number 4, work on you. Work on who? Work on you. Sometimes I've seen this happen, and I've even been guilty of doing this myself in the past. Is that you're at church and your pastor, he or she would say something, and you say, man, I wish so-and-so was here so that they can hear that. No, you're there. You heard it, friend. That was for you. But you got to work on you. Working on you taps into your purpose, your process, and your profit. When I take the time to work on me, to build me up, right, to self-discover me, to understand what's going on in my emotions and in my soul. When I walk through and I take the time to do that, whether you hire a therapist and meet with a therapist, right? I'm tapping into that, puts me in a position to tap into my purpose in life. And when I tap into my purpose in life, and then I understand my process in life, or process is simply how I display or act on or act out my purpose. And friend, when you act in and act out with your purpose and or in your purpose, it is consistently going to lead to profits. Not just financial or monetary profit, but having a profitable relationship, a healthy relationship with your family, healthy relationship with your wife, your spouse, right? Having a healthy relationship at work with your co-workers. Get away from people that have your problems and hang with people that have your answers, but you gotta start by working with you. Michael Jackson had a song that said, I'm looking at the man in the mirror. Oh, that was by Michael Jackson. I'm seeing if I could see a change. And the fifth thing we want to talk about during this peak performance conversation over the next couple of weeks is know and set your boundaries. You got to understand your boundaries. Know and set your boundaries. Once you know and you set your boundaries, you're better equipped to set yourself up for success. There's certain environments I won't go into because I got to set boundaries for me. I never forget years ago when I moved to the area that I'm living in now, and I was managing a real estate office. And there were some agents that when they went out, they invited me to go out to dinner because, I'm new in town, I'm getting to know everyone. And I noticed when I went out to dinner with them, they would be flirting with the waitress. And I'm like, okay, I know that you're married. And I mean, it happened once. The first time I was like, okay, maybe so. They invited me out again to dinner. Hey, let's get together, dinner, hang out after work. I said, okay, cool. I went out. The exact same thing happened again. They were flirting with their waitress. I'm like, okay, I know that you're married. And so I set boundaries for myself. The next time they invited me out, I said, listen, if we go out, actually, I didn't say if. I said, I can't go out with you guys. Why not? I said, because I don't flirt with other women because I value my relationship. And I told them that I value my relationship with my wife. I don't flirt. I don't do that. I don't play around with that. I don't play around with that at all. And they were like, oh, and they went their way and they never invited me out again. But I had to know my boundaries. I know my boundaries. So you got to set boundaries for yourself. And then the sixth and final thing is that you got to maintain your focus. Maintain your focus. Don't be like Doug the dog on the Pixar movie Up. You ever see that movie Up? The old man in the balloons, right? And there was a talking dog named Doug. And so Doug the dog would be talking to you, and all of a sudden, Doug the dog will go like this, squirrel, and he'll just come back, right? What happened? Doug the dog was distracted by a squirrel. Don't be Doug the dog getting distracted by a squirrel. You need to be lasered into your goals and dreams at hand to know where you are going. Look, let me show you something. You could do something real simple, like buy yourself a pack. I don't know if you can see that on the camera or not. These are 3x5 index cards, or these 3x5 or 4x6 index cards. So what I do is I write down my goals for the week or the day, whatever, and build from that. That keeps me laser focused. Keeps me laser. When I sold real estate, I knew that I need to talk to 5.25 people a day because I had discovered through my purpose, process, and profits, I discovered that if I talk to 5.25 people a day as relates to the desire to buy and or sell real estate, I will consistently stay on track and be in an arena of earning six figures selling real estate. How did I come to that? Because I analyzed, I kept track of my process, and I consistently was on track, consistently stayed on track to earn six figures selling real estate. So I wanted to give you a quick highlight of where we're going and how we're going to get there and the things that you and I are going to unlock in our lives. I'm telling you, it is going to be a game changer. You're going to be the person that you desire. You're going to become the person that you desire to be. Now listen, hey, if you're already the person that you desire to be, then this is just a friendly reminder, refresher course, if possible. So it looks, I want you to stay tuned, stay plugged in. Listen, hit that subscribe button. And then after you hit that subscribe button, hit that little bell. That little bell is a notification. And it lets you know that every time we post content, you'll get a notification so you can be plugged. Because at the Motivate Podcast Show, we always say less, but we definitely believe for more. I'll see you. Let's get it.